Tonight on KTN Prime.
They have to collect revenue. Whoever is not ready to adhere to that should be warned.
Reality check in counties, anger and chaos over new levies.
The internal conflict, once it's established, then that's a reason for suspending a county.
Dissolving a county government. Is Marsabit really on the brink?
Deputy TCIO alinishurutisha na statement ambayo ilikuwa ishaandikwa.
Confessions of a driver. New twist in Wetangula shooting saga.
And drying maize in a graveyard. Farmer's dilemma in Eldoret. And welcome to KTN Prime. We're broadcasting live from the Standard Group Center and we're streaming online as well. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Nancy Kacungira.
Many thanks for joining us on your most qualified news bulletin in town. I'm Ben Kitili and our sign language interpreter tonight is William Silla.
Now, we begin tonight with a whole new controversy over money in the counties. Earlier in the day, border operators in Machakos disrupted traffic for hours, protesting against a new levy introduced by the county.
Now, the riots came as it emerged that mothers delivering at Nairobi's most famous maternity hospital would have to pay more starting now.
Yes, KTN's Edith Kimani now reports on the taxing times that have spread to Kiambu and Nakuru counties.
For an entire afternoon, these border operators in Athi River commandeered a section of the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. Reason? Money. The Machakos County government has increased border operation license fee from 400 shillings to 1,250 shillings a year as part of the county's finance bill. And the operators are not happy.
Wanatuambia tunatoa shilingi 1250 ya sijui registration ama hata wadoelezee ni nini, na hata wawape muda ambao wakawalishe chini wawaambie hii pesa iko hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi, ndio watu waelewe. Wao wanakuja wanaweka vitu, wana implement vitu yao na waambie wananchi ambao wanatoa pesa unasi tunaumia.
Machakos Senator Johnston Muthama had to be called in to calm the flaring tempers and help ease traffic on the road, which at some point had reportedly stretched kilometers deep to Sultan Hamud. But it will take more than a few words to calm these Nairobi market traders. This is the second time in 5 days they're holding demonstrations of increased taxes in Nairobi County. Last week Wednesday, the traders marched to the Deputy President's office demanding answers. And less than a week later, the traders proved resilient, making the same demands.
Kwa sababu hiyo pesa yote, hiyo ni kama profit yote tunapeana. Unaona? No, we earn nothing. We just tunarudisha pesa ya kazi, tunanunua, ni kama yani profit yote inaenda kwa hiyo mzigo yote.
These counties have seen an increase in levies, which are proving a tough sell for the county governments. Members of the county assemblies are now walking a tightrope, with some counties opting for partial implementation of their finance bills as they iron out contentious issues. For the traders in Nairobi, their options are limited, with the finance bill already fully implemented. Their best option now, according to observers, is legal recourse or compliance. Governors have, however, argued that drafting of the bills was open to public participation, where those demonstrating now should have aired their concerns. But the traders see things differently. The demonstrations could not have come at a worse time for county governments, which, according to the Controller of Budget, are not collecting enough revenue to sustain their governments. But traders, businessmen, and these border operators want to hear none of it, and they won't keep quiet about it either. Edith Kimani, KTN.
Now, the tax chaos is not the only problem facing devolved governments. Some, like Marsabit, are now facing the real threat of being dissolved. Or are they? Experts warn that runaway insecurity could provide a legal basis for suspending a county government. But as KTN's Asha Mwilu now reports, opinion is varied on whether Marsabit County is there yet.
As other counties grapple with matters development and revenue, on the other side of Kenya, a lonely Marsabit is facing an even bigger crisis. The internal tensions pitting various ethnic groups against one another are proving a big threat to the county government. The national government has already warned that if the insecurity persists, the president will have to suspend the county government, a statement that sent political circles straight into a frenzy.
Tulikuwa na shida hapa Bungoma, tumezima. Tulikuwa na shida kule Tana River, tumezima. Ile shida tuko nayo Moyale na kwingine tutazima.
Kule Marsabit wameshindwa. Na tumewaonya kwamba wakithubutu kuvunja serikali ya Marsabit, wataona cha mtema kuni.
Security is a function of the national government. It is not the function of the county government.
Dr. Ekuru Okot sat in the committee of experts as they drafted the constitution. He says the law actually grants the president such powers to disband a county government.
County government can be suspended under Article 192 of the Constitution, but only on two grounds. On the fact that there is serious internal conflict in that particular county. In other words, everything, say, must have broken down in the county. There is no governance, rule of law, and there is lawlessness. To be honest with you, I don't think any county today meets the criteria for suspension.
Senator Kipchumba Murkomen shares this sentiment. As the chairperson of the Senate's Special Committee on Devolution, Marsabit's internal wars worry him. But he thinks the president's stern warning could do just the trick.
This permissive, because this is a permission provided by the Constitution, should just necessarily be a warning to us. We shouldn't just run to being defensive.
Article 192 would, however, still protect the spirit of devolution, even when a county government is at its lowest. If the president deems it fit to suspend a county, he must form an independent commission of inquiry to investigate the allegations. If the president is satisfied that the allegations are justified, the Senate then has to provide a majority vote to authorize the suspension.
The best thing for us is for Marsabit people to solve their problems locally. I really believe that they still have the ability to look at the bigger picture.
Why is it that we keep on excusing politicians who incite violence, incite communities against each other, and we don't try them?
The suspension of a county can only last 90 days, after which either the governor resolves the issues and is reinstated, or fresh elections are held. Even though the possibility of suspending Marsabit County appears slim, if the armed militias maintain their fights, then the president could be forced to make his toughest call yet on devolution. Asha Mwilu, KTN Prime.
And with that, we come to our big Q tonight. Asha Mwilu has laid out the situation for us, and now we want to hear from you. Do you think that Marsabit County government should be dissolved over insecurity in the region?
Tell us what you think about that latest obstacle to devolution. Send us your yes or no response, plus a brief comment to the number 22155. You can also tweet us at Ben_Kitili, at Kacungira, and at KTN Kenya. We shall be sampling those results, plus, of course, the poll results at the end of this live newscast.
Now, yesterday we gave you an update on the immigration chief who fainted as anti-corruption officials sought to grill her. Well, today investigators from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission finally managed to question Jane Waikenda over alleged irregular allocation of work permits by her department. Now, Waikenda insists that she is innocent, and in her words, corruption is simply fighting back. KTN's senior crimes and investigations reporter Dennis Onsarigo is on that case tonight.
For a director who has been outspoken about her department's role in fighting corruption, Jane Waikenda finds herself at the center of a storm that appears to be not going away just yet. The director was led to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission offices last week, only to collapse and later emerge from Nairobi Hospital.
And corruption fights back, and fights back fiercely.
The director was back at the commission's offices Monday morning, fighting off claims of corruption. Waikenda was grilled for more than 6 hours, where she took EACC investigators through some 50 personal files of foreigners who are said to have been awarded work permits without meeting the required standards. An EACC official told KTN the inquiry into the activities at Nyayo House, where the director's office is located, still continues.
I'm hoping also that the Anti-Corruption Commission will not be misused, because the battles that are there are vicious.
The investigators are seeking to establish how the foreigners managed to acquire work permits and seek to put to rest allegations of money changing hands. Only last year, the Interior Ministry sent packing 15 immigration officials accused of issuing travel documents to individuals linked to the Westgate Mall attack. Jane Waikenda was instrumental in the cleanup at the Immigration Department.
Thank you very much, and have yourself a very good evening.
Only 6 months old in office, this latest focus on Jane Waikenda will no doubt place the Immigration Department family back in the limelight. Denison Sarigo, KTN Prime.
Now to that saga of an alleged slap by Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero. Earlier today, the governor obtained a fresh court order barring the Director of Public Prosecutions from arresting him. Kidero is accused of slapping Nairobi Women Representative Rachel Shebesh, who is also wanted for allegedly causing a disturbance during that same incident. KTN's Betty Kialo has the latest on that.
On Monday morning, the long arm of the law would catch up with Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero and Women's Representative Rachel Shebesh. This follows Justice Isaac Lenaola's decision to have the two leaders prosecuted after they failed to reconcile out of court during a 7-day period initially issued by the High Court. While discharging the orders, Lenaola said the failure of the two parties to dialogue left the court with no choice but to take action. Shebesh, through her lawyer Cecile Miller, told the High Court that negotiations between the two parties had failed. But on the other hand, Kidero's counsel Tom Ojienda refuted the claims, saying negotiations were still ongoing, and asked the court to grant the two parties more time to dialogue, a request that the court dismissed. However, following the High Court's decision to prosecute the two leaders, Dr. Evans Kidero, through his lawyer, obtained a court order stopping Keriako Tobiko from arresting and charging him. While suspending Governor Kidero's prosecution, High Court Judge Justice Weldon Korir set January 16th as the date when the case will come up for the inter-party hearing. Governor Kidero is accused of slapping Rachel Shebesh last year, while Shebesh is accused of disturbing peace at Kidero's office. Betty Kialo, KTN.
You might remember a story we highlighted about maize being dried in cemeteries and soccer fields in Uasin Gishu County. Now, these are part of desperate measures now being taken by farmers in that region to cut costs amid a looming food shortage. KTN's North Rift reporter Mercy Kandie has those details from Kenya's Breadbasket.
After the harvesting season in Uasin Gishu County, the grounds of the Kipchoge Keino Stadium in Eldoret is the next stopover for many farmers. The space outside the stadium under renovation is the solace for drying maize. The dryer in the county cereals company is out of service. The two dryers bought by the county government last year are also not enough to serve the 6 constituencies.
Hiyo mahindi inaharvestiwa, hiyo moisture inaendanga mpaka 20 na kureduce hiyo moisture mpaka 13 sio rahisi. Inatake around 2 to 3 days.
Kirui, a farmer from Elgeyo Marakwet, is drying his 150 bags of maize. The sun in Uasin Gishu County will help him reduce the moisture content at a cheaper price.
Mahema tunatumia nayo kuna ingine yenye imetopoka, imeraruka. So obvious mpaka mahindi itamwagika chini. Lakini saa ile unaenda kufanya hiyo cost, saa ile unaenda kufanya hiyo breakdown, pengine utakuwa umeenda less by some bucks.
The county's dryer will cost a farmer around 52 shillings per bag, while here the cheap labor will cost the farmer 20 shillings, with farmers taking advantage of any available space, including the cemetery grounds.
Hata saile wanakanyaka hii mahindi usiona ati wanaharibu. Hiyo the moment wanakanyaka hii mahindi wanachangia hiyo mahindi ikauka haraka.
Philip Boit has just been turned back from the cereals company. His maize moisture content did not meet the requirements. The dryer at the cereals company has broken down. His last resort is the free grounds, but his hope in farming is dwindling fast.
Sasa nitasumbukana sana, ndio nimeamua nipeleke hii mahindi kwa hiyo dola au wapi, alafu nione nilipe school fees ya watoto au nilipe loan yangu.
The Food and Agriculture Organization FAO in November last year warned of a looming food shortage by April this year. Uasin Gishu County admits that the maize production has been low this year and is counting on ways to reduce the cost of drying maize and farming inputs.
I want to guarantee farmers this time around we're going to do every effort to ensure that at least they get their fertilizer in good time and at the designated destinations points so that at least they don't incur as much cost.
In the meantime, the little that is harvested, every effort is made to save every penny, even as farmers risk exposing their produce to aflatoxin if the maize is not dried sufficiently.
There's a lot of dust. There's a lot of, the way people actually turn the maize, they use their own feet, and you can imagine what kind of health hazards they are.
The grave condition is what is seen here year in, year out, though it is a source of income as some people acquire some odd jobs. For the farmer, it is a result of neglect from current and previous governments. It is a frustration that recurs annually for a region that takes pride in being known as the country's breadbasket. To many farmers here, that title remains an irony. Marcy Kandia, KTN, Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County.
Thank you very much, Marcy. Now, just when you thought we had seen the end to the twists and turns in the Moses Wetangula shooting saga, there is one more tonight. The senator's driver, Samson Nyukuri, now says he never changed his testimony as alleged by police. Nyukuri insists that he told police that the senator's vehicle was shot at and maintains that testimony. In fact, as KTN's Sharon Momanya now reports, the driver even claims that police tried to force him to alter his statement.
In just a few days, the shooting saga surrounding the Bungoma senator has turned from a security scare to a complex riddle. But now the man who was driving Wetangula's car that night, Samson Nyukuri, is speaking out. This after police claimed that the senator's driver had changed his testimony to support the latest theory that the car simply hit a billboard on that Thursday night. But Nyukuri insists that he has never changed his testimony about the shooting.
I would like to make it clear that when I was summoned to record a statement with the police Friday last week, I maintained to them that the attack was a gunshot and their theory of hitting a billboard is just a diversionary.
In fact, the driver alleges that it was the Deputy Divisional Criminal Investigations Officer at the Kilimani police station who tried to get him to sign a revised statement when he was summoned to the station.
Na statement ambaye ilikuwa ishaandikwa akiniambia ya kwamba hii statement haina shida. Ni statement sawa tu na ile yenye ulikuwa umeandika ya kwanza. Sasa nilishangaa sana siku ya leo kupata ripoti ya kwamba mimi nilikupaliana ya kwamba eti mimi nilikuwa nimekonga billboard. Hiyo ni propaganda.
This latest twist comes in the wake of a battle of words between CORD and Jubilee leaders, with the Jubilee counterparts claiming that Wetangula's reported assassination attempt was stage-managed.
Wale wakishindwa kumtawala wanataka kuanza mambo ya kupiga wanasiasa.
How many times even do you hit a banner or a road furniture? Many times. Yeah. So this is cheap politics. This is falsehood. This is people who are idle.
Nyukuri's statement now puts the onus back on the police to back their billboard claims and is likely to fuel further controversy in what has now turned into a partisan political saga. Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
Let's now find out what's happening in the courts. Well, in The Hague, judges have called for a special session known as a status conference to determine whether Deputy President William Ruto will be allowed to skip all sessions of his trial.
The meeting of lawyers from all sides will be held in the Dutch city Wednesday this week.
And back in the country, journalist Walter Barasa, who is also wanted by the Hague-based court, will finally find out tomorrow if he will be extradited to The Hague.
Also in court, Kitili South Member of Parliament Richard Onyonka pleaded not guilty to 4 charges in Kisumu. Here are the details of those court stories.
Walter Barasa in his new suit has included the 3 ICC accused: President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy William Ruto and Joshua Sang in the case as interested parties. Barasa, through his lawyer Kibe Mungai, says no Kenyan should be held accountable for crimes against humanity committed during the post-election violence period, since the ICC has no power to try any offense where Kenyan courts have similar power. Barasa's judgment will be given tomorrow. From Kisumu, Kitili South MP Richard Onyonka was arraigned in court and charged with corruption and abuse of office. Onyonka was charged with non-remittance of tax to the Kenya Revenue Authority on sugar bought from Chemelil Sugar Company for internally displaced people in his constituency. The MP, who appeared before Chief Magistrate Lucy Gitari at the Kisumu Law Court, denied the 2 counts before being released on a 40 million surety bond or a cash bail of 5 million shillings. The Commission for the Implementation of the Constitution is seeking to be enjoined in a suit seeking to stop the distribution of national referral facilities to the counties. Civil activist Okia Umtata and Gisebe Nkia claim the distribution of health functions from national referral facilities to county health facilities is unconstitutional. They are also challenging a Gazette notice effecting the transfer. The case will be heard in March 4th before Justice Isaac Lenaola. And High Court Judge Justice Isaac Lenaola has issued orders stopping the deportation of a British national working in Kenya alongside human rights activist Maina Kiai. Lucy Hannan had moved to court after the government refused to renew her work permit. Hannan runs In for Action, an NGO on justice and governance. Lucy's permit expired September last year. The case will be heard on 12th March. Winnie Kamau, KTN.
So let's take you back to our top stories tonight. We are focusing on the counties, the obstacles facing the counties, and on the big question we are asking you, should the county of Marsabit be dissolved over insecurity in that region? Keep sending the SMSs, yes or no, SMSs to the number 22155. Let me read one very quickly from Amedo Share on Twitter, who says, it shouldn't be dissolved because under Schedule 4 of the Constitution, security is under the national government and the governor is not immune.
Okay, also on Twitter, George Kisundi says, no, security is a preserve of the national government and its commander-in-chief. Only financial misappropriation should go that way. Well, thank you for your comments. Keep them coming at KTN Kenya, at Kacungira, at Ben_Kitili. We're going to take a quick break now, but stay with us. Many more stories still ahead on KTN Prime.
Just ahead, brutal murder at a petrol station. Just what do the gangsters want?
Wanatuambia tunatoa shilingi 1250 sijui ni registration ama hata wadoelezei ni nini, na hata wawapei muda ambao wakalishe chini wawaambie hii pesa iko hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi, ndio watu waelewe. Wao wanakuja wanaweka pitu, wana implement vitu yao na waambii wananchi ambao wanatoa pesa, unasi tunaumia.
You're watching KTN Prime.
Thank you for staying with us here on KTN and welcome back to the program.
Yes, let's go to Naivasha now, where police have arrested 2 people in connection with the brutal murder of people at a petrol station earlier this morning.
The 5, among them 2 women working in a cafeteria, were killed after a gang struck at a Total petrol station along the Naivasha-Nakuru highway.
The gang, armed with machetes and stones, stormed the petrol station where they first killed a night guard before turning on 2 pump attendants, bludgeoning them to death.
The gang then proceeded to a cafeteria where they killed 2 women working there.
The gang is said to have made away with more than 2 million shillings in the 2 a.m. incident.
The killings come barely a month after another gang struck at a petrol station in the city's Embakasi area where they hacked to death 4 people. In other news, the newly appointed Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Anne Atieno Amadi, has taken the oath of office with a pledge to serve all without discrimination.
Amadi emerged top on the list of 4 candidates interviewed by the Judicial Service Commission.
Amadi will replace former Chief Registrar Gladys Boss-Cholet, who was dismissed in acrimonious circumstances last October.
Amadi comes into office amid unresolved controversies about the Judicial Service Commission and its relationship with the Office of the Chief Registrar.
Amadi has been an advocate of the High Court of Kenya since 1989 and also served as a magistrate from 1991 to 1997.
And she will be the second holder of that office since the restructuring of the judiciary under the new constitution.
Corruption in the administrative cadre must be exterminated. The public raised our salaries and we must say no to bribes. We cannot elevate corruption into a permanent sport. We cannot make it look so ordinary that those who fight it appear to be the ones doing the wrong thing.
I'm equally aware of the high expectations Kenyans continue to have on the judiciary as we seek a fulfilling, comprehensive transformation of our nation on many fronts that are of great concern to our people, justice being high in this agenda.
You're watching KTN Prime, and next tonight we head over to our business studio where Bonnie Tunya is standing by with all the latest developments in the world of finance. Good evening to you, Bonnie.
Good evening, Nancy. As always, we have a lot in store for you, but today we want to put a special spotlight on the central bank. Now, tomorrow they are set to have an MPC meeting that will set to alter the stance they've had for the past 4 sittings. We have all those details. KWS increases park entry fee to reflect 16% VAT.
Tweet of the day in association with KCB.
Good evening and welcome to Business. My name is Bonnie Tunya. 10 years ago, Africa was the dark continent that attracted little interest from the international business community. But today, the continent has taken its rightful place as the next growth frontier. According to the African Business Agenda survey by audit firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, CEOs operating in the African environment are optimistic there will be good times ahead. However, they must remain wary of the pitfalls that lie on their path to success.
The uninhibited growth potential across every sector of business in Africa is spurring a wave of optimism among Africa's CEOs.
Business, whether Kenya, East Africa, global, need to pay particular attention to what's happening in Africa, because I think that's where growth will be in the medium to longer term.
In the annual survey by PricewaterhouseCoopers, 85% of Africa's CEOs expect their operations to grow this year as they take advantage of the increasing investment opportunities, the rising foreign direct investments, and the high GDP growth offered by the continent. But the rising sophistication of the African consumer and the rapid growth in the continent's middle class is forcing companies to rethink their corporate strategies.
Over the coming years, those companies that are able to actually provide a distinctive experience to their customers, drive innovation so that they can produce products and services that are distinctive and try and differentiate them from their competitors will be the ones that will win in the market.
Retention of top talent is also a key concern for the CEOs as they grapple with a shortage of a knowledgeable and skilled workforce. According to the survey, the continent still lacks the crucial skills despite the huge investment made into education over the last few years, a fact that is forcing companies to ring-fence their key staff.
More than 90% of the CEOs in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania are looking to increase salaries if they need to retain people.
It is imperative to rewire the education policy throughout the continent to ensure institutions of higher learning equip their students with the skills needed to get the job done. The survey cited the continent's taxation system, saying it's the main source of CEOs' sleepless nights, with an overwhelming majority of those interviewed saying it is outdated and needs to be looked at afresh.
90% of the respondents surveyed reported that regulators impact their business strategy. And 69% of the African CEOs indicated that excessive regulation stifles growth.
The annual survey involved 301 CEOs from various fields across 22 countries in Africa. Adelaide Changole, KTN Business.
Now, the holidays are over, but it will now cost you more to see the Big Five or witness the wildebeest migration after the Kenya Wildlife Service has increased its gate charges across the country to reflect a 16% value-added tax. Through a Gazette notice by the Environmental Cabinet Secretary Judy Wahungu, all fees for entry into national parks, reserves and sanctuaries will be adjusted to include a 16% value-added tax. Now, in the new regime, local visitors will now pay 200 shillings more to access parks, while foreign investors will pay $10 more, as park fees for local students will increase from 200 shillings to 300 shillings. Last year, Kenya Wildlife Service's park entry fees totaled to just about 4.2 billion shillings. However, conservation efforts suffered huge setbacks as the parks lost record number of elephants and rhinos to poachers. To what I alluded to earlier on, analysts foresee easing of the interest rates as the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Kenya is expected to sit Tuesday to review and deliberate on the monetary trends in the economy. This meeting comes at a time when the trend over the last 4 sittings has been that of maintaining the benchmark lending rate. Michael Karanja explains.
2014's first monetary policy meeting comes against the backdrop of renewed calls to lower the cost of loans, a persistent issue that affects all borrowers. From 2012, the focus has been on easing the interest rate environment, lowering the CBR from a high of 18% to the current level of 8.5%. But since July 2013, the MPC has left the benchmark lending rate unchanged, arguing it was at a comfortable level to support its other monetary policy objectives, such as inflation and foreign exchange stability. Annual inflation today hovers at about 8% year-on-year, and the immediate outlook is that things will remain on hold on this front. But with private sector credit still restricted, analysts say this could be the best time for the MPC to stimulate growth by giving banks room to lower lending rates. With inflation being reined into 7.15% in December, analysts believe the policy actions will lean towards lower interest rates, with inflation within the 7% target.
Well, if you look at the private sector credit numbers, they're still below target. And I mean, they're not doing above 20% on a year-on-year basis. So as long as they're still below the annual target, and as long as they're not growing above so fast, and I mean, by fast, I mean they're not growing above 20% on a year-on-year basis, then you will see the central bank actually having a very, very accommodative policy this year.
The big question for borrowers, however, is how long banks will take to ease their lending rates to match the central bank's intent to increase private sector credit.
The argument is that generally they should reflect each other. If the economy is doing badly, the banks are supposed to be reporting losses. And if the economy is booming, then banks are supposed to report, which is not the case in Kenya.
Performance of the banking sector has been on a high, with commercial banks posting a combined profit of 111.5 billion shillings by November 2013, largely linked to the huge interest spreads they continue to enjoy in the marketplace. Michael Karanja, KTN Business.
So that's what the analysts expect, but we'll just have to wait until tomorrow after that meeting to get exactly where this, what action they will take indeed regarding this economy. Now, just a week after the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum appointed heads of Kenya Power and the Energy Regulatory Commission and the Kenya Electricity Generating Company, if you like, KENGEN, the Ministry's Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir has confirmed the appointment of Charles Kiprotich Tanui as the Managing Director of the Kenya Pipeline Company. Tanui will replace Celeste Kilinda, who was dismissed of allegations of nepotism following claims that he influenced the hiring of 2 of his sisters and a brother at the company. Tanui has been holding the position of in acting capacity since May last year and has been given a 3-year contract prior to his appointment. Tanui was in charge of finance, ICT, business development and corporate planning. While announcing Tanui's appointment, Chirchir explained that the exercise of naming the substantive heads of these corporations has been delayed in order to ensure that they met the constitutional requirements of gender, regional balance and such like things. Now, the minister is still yet to name the CEO of the Rural Electrification Authority since the REA board is not fully constituted. Well, that's pretty much all in business. Let's take a look at how your money is working for you with a look at the numbers in the Financial Market Review coming up next. Great, so that's how business looks like on the eve that the NSE 20 share index remained in the 5,000 territory. We look at the numbers again tomorrow. My name is Bonnie Tunya. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Bonnie, for bringing us up to speed. Now let's take you back to our top story. In case you missed it this evening, normal business was halted today in various counties across the country after traders took to the streets in protest over the implementation of new levies. In Athi River, traders blocked the busy Nairobi-Mombasa highway, protesting the hiking of their annual license fee from the previous 400 shillings to 1,250 shillings. The operators, who say they cannot afford the new levy, blocked the busy road for 8 hours, leading to a huge traffic snarl-up that stretched for kilometers. In Kiambu, similar protests were witnessed, but on a lower scale. However, the county administration says the new levies will stay as the public was consulted before implementation. In Nairobi, traders in Wakulima Market who had staged protests in the CBD over new levies commended the county government for suspending the levies to pave way for more consultations.
Well, remember, we are waiting for your responses. Keep sending them to the number 22155 and Twitter as well. Time now to take a break into the sports news. And remember, we are waiting to know who the 2013 Ballon d'Or winner is between Lionel Messi, Bayern Munich's Frank Ribery, and of course Cristiano Ronaldo. Stand by for Sports Next. Up next with Lynn Washira.
Just ahead, Meru traders reject relocation to new market.
You're watching KTN Prime.
Well, a very good evening and a warm welcome to another action-packed of KTN Sports. Today, I'm Lane Washer, and I hope that you've had a perfect start to the year 2014. Definitely looking forward to being with you. And straight to the sports news now, Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology has disclosed plans to refurbish its sports facilities to a tune of 100 million shillings annually in its 5-year strategic plan. As compared to the Nakuru Afraha Stadium, the Institute's sports ground has other sporting facilities such as permanent basketball courts, netball, hockey, handball, volleyball and rugby pitches. Victor Ogale tells us more.
The 100 million shillings 5-year annual strategic plan will see the Rift Valley Institute of Science and Technology build a standard track and a water jump hole meant for the Kenya's favorite 1,000 meter steeplechase run. The institution has in the past continued to produce great sportsmen, with others already participating in international races such as Wesley Cheruiyot and Zakayo Kipto, who will be defending his half marathon title in Kampala, Uganda, who are both under the care of marathoner cum lecturer Simeon Magut.
This field as an environment that is conducive for practice and also doesn't have injuries to athletes.
As compared to Nakuru's Afraha Stadium, the Institute Sports Ground has other sporting facilities such as permanent basketball courts, netball, hockey, handball, volleyball, and rugby pitches apart from a semi-modern gym. Facilities that are not available at Afraha Stadium, which only has a running track and a soccer pitch.
Mazoezi yenyewe tunaanza saa 12 kamili. Tunaenda road work. Baada hiyo saa 4 tunakuja tunachapa speed work. Kitu kama 1 hour na 30 minutes hivi.
The school's administration is planning to name the sports facility after Kenya's long-distance runner, Ambassador Tekla Rupe, who was a student in the 80s. Late marathoner Samuel Kamau Wanjiru and Lucy Kabu are among elite athletes from Nyahururu who have used the center for training. Victor Ogale, KTN Sports.
And that's all we had for you in tonight's edition of KTN Sports Today. I'm Lane Washura. Be sure to join me tomorrow for another action-packed night. But right now, I'll take you back to Ben Kitili to wrap up the bulletin.
Let's now wrap up this bulletin, of course, as always, with our news. And business came to a standstill in Meru town after hundreds of angry hawkers, border operators and small kiosk owners took to the streets.
The hawkers were demonstrating against the Meru County government's move to demolish their kiosks during a town cleanup exercise.
The demonstrators lit bonfires along the roads and engaged police officers in running battles.
Police were forced to fire tear gas canisters and use live bullets to disperse the traders, a move which agitated the protesters even more. 2 people sustained gunshot wounds during the demos, which began in the morning. Meru Governor Peter Munya said that the protesters were hired goons and hooligans, quote unquote, who had been ferried to the town to pull back the development agenda of his government. And North Imenti Member of Parliament Rahim Dawood supported the demonstrators, saying that he will continue championing the rights of the underprivileged.
On the big question tonight, we are talking about the focus that is on the county government. We are focusing on the county of Marsabit. We are asking you, should the county government of Marsabit be dissolved over insecurity in that region? And how have we polled? Nancy?
Well, thank you for your responses. We have 61% saying yes and only 39% saying no. What kind of tweets do you have today,
Let me look for a no. Start with a no here from Kabonyo. Says, no, it's wrong to suspend county government since it is the responsibility of the national government. That is Kefa Sabonyo on Twitter.
Okay, Bevin on Twitter says, securing the public is the duty of the national government, not of the county.
Lawi Makori says, no, that would be unfair for the county of Marsabit. The national government should admit they have failed on matters security.
Okay, and Aidan Diad says, not at all. Instead, the national government should stand with the county government in these turbulent times.
Very quick one, last one here from Kenyan Zulu says, insecurity is rife in all the counties in the country. Just suspend all the counties, suspend Kenya.
Okay, and I'll just add one more from Zinduko, who says national security is the state's docket. It has failed to deliver, not just in Marsabit, and now add disgruntled citizens.
Thank you for your texts and tweets. Let's do this again tomorrow. Many thanks for joining us on KTN Prime tonight. My name is Ben Kitili.
And I'm Nancy Kacungira. Thank you so much for your company this evening. And our sign language interpreter was William Silla. See you tomorrow.